Good evening, everybody. Here we are for another poker chip draw. Going to be doing BU Wheat Cents this evening. I've got my bag ready. I've got everything else ready. Is everybody ready to go? Can you hear me? I think I've got this thing set right. Let's see. Let me do one more adjustment here that I know I need to do. Throw a filter on here so that we can be heard a little better. There we go. Okay, now I know for sure that I can be heard. All right. And clicking, and now bing, bing, bing. There you go. All right, so we have a poker chip draw coming up this evening for BU Wheat Cents. These are all BU Wheat Cents from different years, starting with 1934, going up. And we have some special chips to go in my beautiful little mint bag here, along with all of your poker chips. We have 1, 2, 3 bonus chips. Bonus chips are where if I draw your name, if I draw one of these, then if I draw your name, after I draw one of these, you get a free coin. Or yeah, a free coin. A free pull. Yes, Stanley, I can get you in. Hang on a second. Let me get your chips. Okay. I have Stanley's chips here. You want 10 spots, right, Stanley? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for Stanley. Got Stanley in. No Frostbite. You are not in. Let me make sure I've got Stanley's name written down here. You want in for 10? And Roy. Okay. Let me know how many you want so I can get you in there for the number that you want to get in there for. Frostbite and Roy. I guess along with anybody else who wants in now. And get you in before we start drawing chips and drawing coins out. Okay, Frostbite wants 10. I'll get you in, Frostbite, but I don't have any chips for you right now. I'll have to use somebody else's chips, and we'll just have to know that means you. Roy, how many would you like, sir? Up to 10. Ant, you are not in there. $3.50 each. When did we buy in? This was during the auction Thursday or Tuesday. Sorry, during the auction Tuesday. Frostbite, you're going to go in today with blank blue chips. These are blue chips that have cards on both sides. There's no name, so this will automatically be Frostbite. And there's 10 chips here for Frostbite. Roy wants 2. 5, 10. So we got Frostbite in for 10. Roy wants 2. No, Parvis is not in this one. CBIP, if you want in, I can get you in. Oh, did I just put the wrong name in? Roy. Not quite sure exactly what I've got going on here. Let me get this sticker peeled and put a Roy sticker on there. Hang on a second. Okay, Ant, I can get you in too. Okay, got Roy for 2 now. There's Roy's second one. He's got 2 in. Clean up my desk a little bit here. I'll get Ant in. Oh no, Josie's homesick. Well, hopefully we'll get some really good coins for her. Let's see, I'm also going to put Ant in for 10. Okay. And is there anyone else who wanted in but is not already in? Okay, I'll put Parva's in for 5, and I'll give you the other 5 of Parva's. Here's Parva's 10, right here. So I'll put those in. Here's Ant's full 10. They all go in there. Okay, so I've got the 3 bonus chips. Hang on, let me write Parva's 5 on. Okay, I think I'm ready now. I got you, Frostbite. I appreciate it. I'll take care of the other 5. And just give him a full load. The only reason that I only do 10 per person is because these shows can get quite large with quite a large number of people and chips, and I can't just do an unlimited number like I can on the bags because we don't show everything that happened in the bag pull. But so here we are. And so I've got my 3 bonus chips here. That's where we left off. And then I've got 1, 2, 3 game chips. The game chips are this. If I draw the game chip, then I draw your name, you get to play the game. The game is where I pull a coin out, and you have to guess whether the year date on the coin, the issue date on the coin, is higher or lower than the coin you just got for the next coin. This is the singles pull. I should have changed the way it was recorded, but it is that. And okay, so for the game, 1946 is the very center. So if someone isn't here and I have to play for them, 1946 is going to be the automatic spot, where if it's above 46 I say lower, and if it's below 46 I say higher. But it's going to be based on the issue date only. So if I pull the game chip, then I pull your name, then I pull a coin out that's a 1934, you might want to say higher. If you say higher, it'll come out, say, like a 1954, then that coin you win as well. You win all the coins you pick properly all the way up until you are... Ant, you were not in on this one. I don't think. I might have put you in already, but I will check. Actually, yes, I need to check to be sure on everyone else to... Hang on just a second. I just realized I recorded sales on this in 2 different places because we did sales after the sales. Hang on just a second here. Okay, Ant should be in for 10. Wait a minute. Where are we here? There we go. There we are. Let's see here. Okay, thank you, Ant, for letting me know and realize. Frostbite, I already had you in for 3. I'll get you in for the other 7. Okay, Stanley was not in. Mickey is in for 3, and I don't have his ready. Farm Dog is in for 3, and Sureg for 10. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I got Farm Dog for his 3. That's good. Sureg is in for his 10. That's good. And Mickey Fur is in for his 3. Okay, I've got that. Frostbite's got 10 in. He's going to pay for 7 because he's already paid for 3 of them. I have to write all this down. Okay, I've got everything taken care of now. Mickey wants to do the other 7? Okay, I can get you in there. No worries, mate. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's all yours right there. They say M fur on them. Okay, so we've got 3 opportunities to play the game. It's a higher or lower game. If the date on the second coin I pull, if you say higher or lower and the next coin I pull is the same date, that's a tie and the player wins ties. So if you got a 1946 and you say higher and the next coin turns out to be 1946, you get both of them. And you get to play again. You play until you lose. So that's how the game works. And then I have 2 $10 credit chips. That will give you $10 credit toward your next purchase. And all of these black chips go in the bag. And everything is going to get mixed together really well. Except for all these ones that just fell out. Well, I knew that had to happen someday, and today was the first day. But the chips are thoroughly mixed. All mishmashed and mixed together. There we go. Ready to start. Yep, can be a lot if you get a good run. I've seen it a couple of times. Wanda won about a dozen coins one time. All right, so here we are. First up, first out. First up, Carl. Carl gets first coin in the bag, in the box. It's 1945S. 1945S. So this is how it works. We just put it in the draw box and move on to the next one. And we do this until we run out of chips. Sureg is next with 1948S. 1948S. Next up, Parviz. Parviz gets 1940S. 1940. That's an old one. That's a nice one there. Real nice. Next up, Mark Thomas, 1954S. 1954S. Next up, Josie Fletcher. Josie gets a 1944D. And none of these coins have been checked for RPMs, double dies, or any of that sort of thing. So any of the things that you can imagine are possible in any one of the issues would be possible in these coins. This one's a blank, so this blank is Frostbite. And Frostbite gets a 1940D. 1940D. It's got a little bit of Larry on it, but still a decent uncirculated 1940D. Here's one for Farm Dog. Farm Dog picks up a 1953 Philadelphia. 1953P. And next up, Josie Fletcher again. Josie on this one picks up a 1952 Philadelphia, 1952. And next, we got Mickey Furr. Mickey picks up a 1953 Philadelphia, 1953P. Next up, we got Mickey Furr again. Mickey Furr for a second time. This time gets a 1956 Philadelphia, 1956P. Let's see what we got next. Okay, this one's Frostbite again. Frostbite, no name. Didn't have time to do Frostbite names on these. 1944 Philadelphia. 1944 Philadelphia for Frostbite. Next out, Mr. Fletcher. Jim Fletcher. Get one of my little things here. There we go. And a 1955D for Mr. Fletcher. 1955D. Nice BU coin there. Next up, Richard Sappington. Richard gets a 1940S uncirculated Lincoln. Next up, Kelly Ray. We haven't heard from her in a while. Kind of busy with stuff. There's 1955S for Kelly Ray. Next up will be Crispy. Crispy, 1950D. 1950D. Next out will be Mr. Rezek. Is it Rezek or Rezek? I started thinking about that the other day. I don't know if it's Rezek or Rezek. One or two. Rezek or Rezek. 1945. I'm pretty sure one of those is right. Here's Stanley. Stanley now. 1955S with toning. Nice little toner. It's a toner. So it is Rezek. Okay. Here's one for Sissy. 1940, Philadelphia. That's got a little crud on the holder. 1940, Philadelphia for Sissy. Let's see what we have coming up next. Well, we're going to do one for Parvis. And for Parvis, got to do 1957 Philadelphia. 1957p. Next up, well, we got Parvis again. And Parvis, second time round, 1954D. 1954D. Next up, Steven. Steven now, 1943S. There we go, nice uncirculated 1943S. Those aren't easy to get. Next, Jess Minter. And Jesse picks up a 1951 Philadelphia. 1951 Philly. Next in, Native American Ways. Native American Ways gets a 1947 Philadelphia. It's actually a pretty nice coin there. It's got stuff on the holder. It's a very nice looking coin. Nice gemmy little character. Let's see here. What do we got now? Ooh, somebody's going to play the game. Who is going to play the game? Stanley. Stanley, you ready? Stanley in here. Stanley, Stanley, Stanley. Waiting for Stanley. Anybody? Anyone? Anyone? Here's what he gets to start with. 1953D. Well, Stanley just got in. I hope he didn't leave, because he's going to get to play the game on his own, or I'll play it for him. I know he was here today. His last message was only about 20 minutes ago. We got congrats and good luck, but we don't have Stanley. Where's Stanley? Now, he's probably on a lag and doesn't even know it yet. So we'll wait for a minute. Stanley, there he is. Okay, 53D, and he says the next coin is lower. Let's see if it is. And it is. 1944D. 1944D, Stanley. What's next? Higher or lower? Oh, we have a lag going on between us and Stanley. It might take a little while to play this one. You can respond, Stanley, as soon as you see the coin come up on screen. Okay, you're going to say lower on this one, 1944D, and we're going to go lower, and it is higher, 1947D. You get that coin, but the game ends right there. You got 3 coins in this game. Congrats to you. And we move on. Thanks, Stanley. Moving on to the next one. Crispy. Crispy gets the next coin. And this one is a 52 Philadelphia. 1952p. Next up, Sissy. Sissy gets a 54 Philadelphia. 54p. Next up, Mr. Fletcher. Ooh, Mr. Fletcher gets a 1936 1936. Nice red coin there for Mr. Fletcher. What we get next? Roy. 1942. Philadelphia. 1942. Nice one. Next up, Mr. Fletcher again. 1954. 1954 from Mr. Fletcher. Let's see. Wanda is up next. Is Wanda here? This is a 56 Philadelphia for Wanda. Sandigger. Sandigger gets a 1944D. 1944D for Sandigger. Parviz comes up next. Parviz gets a 1937S. Yeah, not going to see those often. That's a $15, $20 coin right there for Parviz. Steven. 1945 Philadelphia. It's a nice luster under all that brown, but it's a nice uncirculated coin. Here come up next, Mr. French. Let's see what Dick French gets. 1948 Philadelphia. Nice clean looking coin for a 48. Those often do not come very nice. Next up, Sissy. Sissy again, 1945D. 1945D this time. Next up, Stanley. Well, Stanley kicks a 54S out of the box this time. 1954S. And next up, Carl. Carl will pick a 1955S. 1955S. That was a pretty 48, wasn't it? Those don't come up very often. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see the coins a little nicer. Don't need to see the names as well as we need to see the coins. Get that focused in. There we go. Carl's going to get the next one. Next one turns out to be 1940 Denver. Got a spot on it. First coin I zoom in on. It's got a spot. Dad seems to be doing okay. He's doing much better. He's got his dialysis is working for him, so he's feeling much nicer. Here's a 1947 Philadelphia for Sandigger. That's a nice looking one too. Thanks for asking. 1947 for Sandigger. What is up next? Well, Parviz. Parviz has had some good luck today. There's a 1953 Philadelphia for Parviz. 53 Philly. And who's next? Native American Ways. Trey? 1948D. That's got spots. Yuck. Kind of spotty. Well, Parviz again. How about a 55D for Parviz? You're right about that, Doug. Mr. Seppington. Richard? 1953S. 1953S. Next up, Kelly Ray. Kelly Ray gets a 1954 Philadelphia. 1954 Philly. Let's see what comes up next. Sureg. Sureg now. 1951 Philadelphia. 1951 Philly. You'd think those Philly coins would be easy to find. Actually, 1946 through about 1954, the Philly coins are actually kind of tough to find in nice condition. Here's Native American Ways. Have 54 Philadelphia. Getting those in anything better than 65 is a tough, kind of a tough bargain. And if you happen to get one in 67, you could buy a used car with it. Here's Parvas. 52 Philadelphia for Parvas. Next up, well, Parvas again. Well, he sure is coming up a lot. 1944 S now for Parvas. And Sissy is next. Sissy, 1955. 55 Philadelphia. And next is Wanda. Wanda, 1945D. 45D for Wanda. Here's Dennis. $54S for Dennis. It's a nice one. 1954S. Next up, Ant. Ant, how about a 54D for Ant? 1954D. Next up, it's going to be Frostbite. Frostbite for a 1955D. 1955D. And next, to Carl. Carl, how about a nice 1940D? It's got a Larry on it, a couple of spots. It's still bright though. 40D. Sureg up next. And Sureg gets a 1943D. 1943D Steely. And next up, Wanda again. Wanda. 1950D. 1950D for Wanda. Next coin. Native American Ways. It's a 1944D. 1944D. And next, Stanley. 51S for Stanley. Hey, Cookie. How you doing this evening? Next up, Mr. Adams. 52D for Mr. Adams. Next one for Sissy. 47D. 1947D. Next up, we have Sureg. 1949D. 1949D. Next, Mr. Adams. And another 1949D. Another 1949D for Mr. Adams. What we have next? Stephen. 1941. 41 Philly for Stephen. Mark. 1954. Bright, shiny 1954 for Mark. Cat Morgendollar. Cat Morgan. Ooh, this is pretty. 1955S with some toning. Look at the colors on that. Good gosh. That's a superb coin right there. Cat Morgan. I'm not sure where the ladies are tonight. I think I saw Sissy in here earlier. I think she said hi, but she may be driving. I haven't seen Wanda. I haven't seen anybody else in here either. You'll be our lady, our den mother this evening for us little Cub Scouts. Sissy, 1957. 1957. We'll get into trouble if we don't have you here taking inventory of our mischievous little actions. Farm Dog here, 1945 for Farm Dog. That was a nice toner, wasn't it, Cat Morgan? Toner. Sand Digger. Sand Digger 1952D. It's got some stuff on the holder. Listening in, looking through some 1970Ps. I guess you got your box, huh? Or are you still out on the road? Sand Digger up again. This time, 1954S. All right, Malcolm this time. Malcolm. 1944D. $1944D. This time, Sureg. 1947, Philadelphia. Crispy. Up next, Crispy. 52S. Up near Paul, but not near enough. Are you in Portland? Hello, Brandon. Here's one for Stanley. Mr. Zolkowski. You know, this time around just gets a 57D. 57D. Surag back up next. 1953 Philadelphia for Surag. Oh, this chip's blank, so it is Frostbite's. Frostbite, how about a 1947D? 1947D for Frostbite. Next up, Cat Morgan. 1955D. 1955D. I'm sorry, in the wrong spot. 55D for Cat Morgan. Up next, Kelly Michaud, our fine feathered Canadian friend. 1956 Philadelphia. He's been doing a lot of work of late. I never realized he's in the Pacific time zone, so he's 3 hours behind me. Mickey Fur. Mickey Fur, 1954D. That's an Ender. It's got paper toning on it. Who's up next? Richard? Richard now, 1941. 41 Philadelphia for Richard. Thank you, Brandon. You can get in on the next draw. Generally, we do these during the Tuesday night auction. Tuesday night auction, you can buy into the bag. We got poker chips with names, and we draw a name out. I have a pre-prepared box full of coins. Next name we draw out. Ant has purchased a spot in the drawing to get this coin, 1954D. These are all uncirculated wheat cents. Next up, Mr. Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher gets 1951S. 1951 San Francisco. Next, Richard. 1958 Philly. 1958 Philly. Next up, Wanda. You're riding along the Columbia River. I've been there. Are you in... I'm guessing that you are in Portland. Or you're in Oregon then, right? Or are you in Washington? Wanda now. 1945S. 45S for Wanda. Let's see. Mr. Wookich. Robert Wookich gets a 1949S. 1949S. I remember my raid all through the passes and areas around the Columbia River up in Oregon. Really nice. Went through the Dalles, and basically from the Dalles toward the east is a lot less, let's say, scenic. So up to the Dalles you're good, and then past the Dalles going east, not so scenic for a while. Doug, it's a 1940D. 1940D, nice one. Earlier wheat there. Hello, Jen. Good evening. Here's one for Carl. And Carl gets 1942. 1942. You're in the Dalles. Sissy, were you aware that there was a United States Mint building built in the Dalles, Oregon, to mint United States coins at one time? It was never actually used. Crispy gets 1955D. 55D for Crispy. Yeah, it was never actually used as a mint building. But it's on, I think it's on Monroe near 5th. Or 5th near Monroe, one or the other. It's up in the northern part of town. It is a, I believe it's a coffee shop or something to that effect. Maybe a brewery. Microbrew. But it's called the Mint. If you look up the Mint in the Dalles, you'll be able to see one of the old original Mint buildings. No, they actually had the building. The building is actually there. All right, there's Carl. 1951D. It's a nice one. Coming up next, Mickey Fur. Yes, Always Unique by Jen is new. I'll explain to you what we're doing. It's a 1953S here for Mickey Fur. Number of people have purchased spaces in this box of coins by purchasing these chips with their name on them. And I go through and I draw a chip. And when I draw a chip, I expose whose name it was, Wanda. And then I draw the next coin out of the box. And Wanda gets that coin. 1942 Philadelphia. So, as we go through this, you build up a collection a little bit. Can a working die create the same MD on multiple coins? No, generally not, Doug. Machine doubling is created on the coin by the die, but it's not on the die. Mr. Adams. Mr. Adams draws 1944D. 1944D. We've got some special chips in here too, Jen, that if I run across them, I'll explain them. We've got one called a bonus chip. Bonus chip, if I draw a bonus chip, then I draw another chip. If I draw your name, you get 2 coins instead of 1. I also have $10 chips. $10 chips will get you a $10 credit on your next purchase with me. Malcolm? How about a 43D? Nice 43D Steely. Then I got one called Game. And a game chip means that you get to play a game of higher or lower. I pull the game chip out, and then I pull your name out. This one's for Frostbite. I pull your game chip out, pull your name out, and then after that, I pull a coin. 1946 for Frostbite. And you look at the date on that coin, and if the date on the next coin by guess is higher or lower and you get it right, you get that coin too. Here's Kelly. If you find a group of coins from a roll that has the same MD, then that means that the die was loose and that same MD is repeating because of the way the die is loose or it's bouncing. Oops. Here's Kelly Michaud. Kelly Michaud gets a 1945D. Nice one too. Nice better grade 1945D. Okay, thank you, Mr. Adams. If I run into you for the game, I'll play it for you until you report back and say I'm here. There's Sissy. Sissy gets a 56 Philadelphia. 56 Philadelphia. Next up, got Malcolm. Malcolm, 1952 Denver. 52 Denver. And by the way, Jen, my name is Chuck. And Brandon as well. Brandon and Jen, my name is Chuck. I am the owner and creator of coppercoins.com. I'm also the host of all of the, or, well, not all of them, host of about half of the online shows for this channel. And then Eric is the host for the other half. He does reveals sometimes during the week. And a reveal is something like this show, except you buy spaces in a roll of coins. So there's only 50 spaces altogether. You buy a space in a roll of coins. I put your name randomly in flip inserts and put those flip inserts inside of flips. Then we go through the flips. They look something like this. So you get a number on the flip. This is coin number 50 out of the roll, and then there's a name on the other side. And that person gets that coin. If the coin happens to be a die variety, happens to be a valuable die variety, I will attribute it and identify it for you and put a new flip insert with it that'll show that particular die number. There's 1948 for Jim. And if we happen to need a photograph of your coin for the website, you'll get credit for having sent the coin for the photographs. And if you want to send your coin into Annex and have them hold the coin as a Copper Coins plate coin, they will do that. 1953 for Taco John. Very nice, Brandon. Okay, so you're already ahead of the game. Cat Morgendollar, 1953, Philadelphia. 53 Philly for Cat Morgendollar. See who's next. Kelly Ray. Kelly Ray comes up next. The 1957D. 57D. For both of you, Jen and Brandon, we also have auctions every Tuesday. Every Tuesday we have a live auction right here on YouTube. That's where we sell these spots for these pulls, is during the auction. The auction is also a great opportunity to own some really nice new coins, or new to you anyway. They're not always new. Sometimes they're really old ones. Malcolm, 1955. 55 Philadelphia from Malcolm. have time right now. Right now is a good time to talk about it while we're going through coins. Jim? 47, Philadelphia for Jim. Next up, Mr. French. What does Dick get? 1945, Denver, 45D. Oh, Stephen. Good evening, sir. What we got next? Mickey Fur. Mickey Fur up for 1. Here we go, 1944, Philadelphia. Okay. I'll let Cookie can play it if she's around. If I draw it for you. Oh, there's Kelly. Kelly Michaud. We should be picking some black chips here soon. 53S for Kelly. I mean, because by statistics, we should have picked more than one by now. Mr. Adams, given that there's 369 chips in here, that's a full tenth of. It's more than a tenth actually. Richard. Richard up next. How about 1940S? A 40S. Red uncirculated coin for Richard. And next up, bonus. Okay, this is where we do a person's name. And then, there's Josie Fletcher. Josie Fletcher is going to get 2 coins instead of 1. That's what a bonus chip is. Automatic second coin. There's a 48 Philadelphia for Josie. That's a nice one there. 48 Philadelphia. And then a 1950 Denver. So she gets a 48 Philly and a 50 Denver. Good for Josie. I like seeing that collection grow. Next up, Kelly. Kelly Michaud. 1951S. 51S. Next up, Mark Thomas. 1940, Philadelphia. That's a toner there. That's got some color. 1940, Philadelphia. Next up, Surag. Surag, how about a 1955 Philadelphia? 55 Philly. Next up, Jesse Minter. Jesse? 52 Denver. This one's an ender and it's got... You know what? I'm just going to give you that one. We're going to draw another one. I don't like that coin. Don't like that coin. 1944. Got a 52D and a 44 because I didn't like the 52D. Jen, we do the chip sales for these pulls at the end of the auction on Tuesday evenings. The auctions start at 7 p.m., usually done by around 9 o'clock. About a 2-hour show, and at the end of the show we break out the chip sales for another pull. Sometimes we don't have pulls in given weeks, but sometimes we do. Most of the time we do. Yeah, and Mondays are where you come and buy. Mondays at 7 p.m. is where you come and buy the spots for the roll reveals, and the roll reveals we're doing these days are actually really nice rolls. I mean, we've got some pretty high quality rolls coming up. It's a 45D for Jesse. Native American Ways. 1940D for Native American Ways, and it's a nice one. 1940D. Okay, so this is the way it goes. This is for Jen and Brandon. Please take notes. On Monday evenings, we sell spots in the reveals, which take place through the remainder of that week. Sometimes we will do what's called a mint seal bag reveal, where you get an original mint seal bag of coins and I bust the stitches on it right here on camera. Whatever comes on the inside of the bag is what comes on the inside of the bag, whatever we get. Then we also do roll reveals, where I open up rolls that have been sealed for who knows how long, and I get you spots in those rolls, and we open them up and look at what the coins are, and I give names based on what's on the back of the flip insert. So that's Mondays. That's the reveal sales night. And then the reveals happen throughout the rest of the week. These chips we sell on Tuesday night during the auction. The auction is on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And if we're going to have a pull that week, we'll sell the pull chips during that show. Then we have the pull sometime during the week or the weekend. Basically, whenever I can get to doing it, I will. Once in a great while, we also have just where I come on and hang out with you for a while, or I will come on and go through a roll of coins. No strings attached. Nobody's required to buy or do anything. Just come watch, hang out with us, and enjoy looking at the coins. Enjoy learning about what's on the coins. And those happen on a pretty regular basis, too. However, lately I've not done any of them. They're called roll digs. So if you happen to catch on to a roll dig, you can come and dig into a roll with us. And there is there's no obligation. There are a number of really nice die varieties found in these, sometimes of high value. Yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, we did, yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday, I can't remember now, but one day this week, either on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or I don't remember, we did a roll reveal of a 1956 proof roll that I had gotten exactly as it was. I had no idea what was inside before we started the pull. We found 3 FS listed, so they're Fiva Stanton Cherry Picker's Guide listed 1956 double die obverse proof coins that are worth in excess of $150 a piece. And those spots were purchased at $9.50 a piece for a chance to get something like that. There were 3 of them in that one roll. So sometimes we get really, really lucky. Let me grab way back here in the back corner. Who's been sitting in the back corner? Malcolm. Malcolm sitting in the back corner of the bag. He's going to get a 1954S. 1954S. And next up, I reach back there in that back corner again. And I'm going to pull out Mr. Fletcher. Mr. Fletcher will get, 1939. 1939, Philadelphia. 1939. Wow. I knew I had some in the 30s in here. We pulled a 37S earlier. Steven. Hey, Tyler. 1947D, and this one's got toning on it. It's a Tona. 47D for Steven. Nobody puts Malcolm in the corner. You're right. So let me see who I can get. Mr. Adams comes out of the corner too. 56 Philly for Mr. Adams. Up next. Out of the corner, Steven. A 44S. Top dead center, right in the middle of the bag. Farm Dog. Farm Dog wasn't in the corner. He was right in the middle. How about a 1946S? 46S for Farm Dog. By the way, 1946S has a 1-year type for the 4 in the date. Let's take a quick look at that, and I'll show you. '46S is the only year you're going to find this kind of a 4 in your date. It's a flat, very short 4. And I've seen a lot of times where that last digit in the date is all covered up because it's weak, very weak. Sometimes you can see how the 6 is starting to wear out already. Well, sometimes it comes like this, where you've got the 1904. I can tell you what year that coin is from, just because of the shape of the 4. Has to be 1946. All right, so we'll put that one away. Set the scope back up. All right, next out. Crispy. Let me get this refocused. And Crispy will pull the last coin in this row. It's a 1953D. 1953D. That's right. There you go, Dennis. That'll be a name for it. The Squat 4. We got Cat Morgendollar. Cat Morgendollar. How about a 51D? That's got a Larry on it. I don't like that coin. I'm going to give you another one. How about a 51 Philly? It's got a few spots on it, but you got 2/3 of a 51 set on one chip. Let's see. Taco John. Taco John comes up next, and Taco John will take home a 1954 Denver. 54D. Steven. Picking a lot of Steven lately here. Is it because he's here? Peanut gallery type thing. 1941S small s. It's a 41S. That's a small s. Small s is more common than the large s. Let's see. Kelly Michaud. Kelly gets a 1946S. This 46S appears to be the ball serif mint mark style. Let's get that focused in real close. Oh no, that's the large S. That's the regular trumpet tail or large S. So that's Kelly's 1946S. Nice 46S too. Yeah, to get registered with me, just send an email to coppercoinspayments@gmail.com. coppercoinspayments@gmail.com. Send me your PayPal email address, your real name, and your YouTube screen name so I can put the 3 together into a sheet that I copy and paste into the bidder list for my auctions, so you are automatically registered to bid. It doesn't cost you anything, and if you never bid, you haven't wasted anything. You may as well do it. Anyone here who has not yet registered should register. There's nothing tying you down. You send your email address. It's coppercoinspayments@gmail.com. coppercoinspayments@gmail.com. All right, here is Richard. Richard Getz, 1946 Philadelphia. 46 Philly. Paul. Mr. Hampton pulls a 46D. Nice orangish coin. A lot of times the coins from 1946 through, actually 1944 through 1947 will turn kind of an orangish-like color, and that's because of the impregnation of sulfur in the mixture that they end up making into billets, that they make into sheets, that they cut into planchets to make the coins. And what they were using were spent shell casings from the artillery and from the United States Navy that had come back from the war effort, and they were melting those down to use them for scent planchets. Well, sulfur will turn your scent a weird color, and that happened because of the leftover sulfur from the gunpowder that was used in those shell casings. Well, Josie Fletcher, will you look at that? 1939. 39. She's building a whole roll of really nice early coins. And this is totally at random, folks. There's nothing about this that I'm forcing my will on how this is working out. It's just complete random. Now, it's got a spot above the date. Sand Digger 1941D. Well, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. Mickey Fur. One of the things that I'm not trying to solicit here, because you're going to make your own decision as to what you want to do. Here's a 1945S. It's got a bunch of powdery, like, age on it. Trust me, there's nice luster underneath that. Mickey, that can be one of your good ones. Here's one for Leighton. Leighton, I'm not sure whether he really wants us to know or not, so I'm taking a chance by saying this. He lost his son this past weekend, and he is currently out of the country dealing with his son's passing, so let's all have an extra thought for Leighton. 1949D for Leighton. Yes, Sandigger, you are. You are indeed. You spoke up at the right time in the right place. Here's one for Sir Egg. Yep, Mickey. We can use that coin as an example for you next time we are together. Sir Egg gets a 1958D. Where are we going now? Well, Taco John. Taco John, how about a 1951D? Nice clean one for you. 1951D. Coming up next. Oops, we got a $10 winner here. Who is our $10 winner? Let me go all the way back in the very corner of the bag. And it's Taco John. Taco John gets $10 and a coin. Here is the coin. 1948 Philadelphia for Taco John. So what I'm going to do is put Taco John's coin away with his chip, and then I'm going to write his name on a sticky note, and that is going to go on his $10 chip, and that gets set out to the side till I can annotate that in my sheet. I got spreadsheets for everything. That's the only way I can do business. No way could I. Oh, look at that. I pulled out a black one. We're going to flip it over and find out what it says. It's a bonus. Who gets the bonus? It's going to be Kelly Michaud. So Kelly is going to get this 1954D and this 1944D for his one chip. There we go. Next up, Mr. Wookich, 1940S, 1940 San Francisco. Next up, well, we've got Frostbite. Frostbite gets a 1946 Philadelphia, 1946P. And next up, Sand Digger again, who did not even remember he was in, gets a 51 Philadelphia, 1951 Philly. Next up on my list is Jesse Minter. Jesse, how about a 53D? 53D for Jesse. Stanley. It's a 57 Philadelphia. Next, look at that. Somebody gets to play the game. Let's see who gets to play the game. Crispy. Is Crispy here? I'll give Crispy a minute or two. Has Crispy said anything in here yet? I don't show him in here. So I guess I will play for Crispy. I will play for Crispy. And the first coin that we're playing, that's a nice one, 43S. Because it's a 43S, I have to say higher. And his second coin is lower, 1940S. So he gets both of these coins. And the game is over because, he lost on that first one. All right. So Stanley, that was a bummer. He gets a 24. I don't even know what this is. It's a 51D. 1951D for Stanley. Next up, Mickey. Mickey gets a 1950 Denver. 1950D. Taco John. Taco John up next gets a 1946 Philadelphia. That's a nice coin. 46 is one that you cannot find in nice condition very commonly. Next up, we've got Crispy. Crispy back again. Let's see what Crispy does this time. 1952 Denver. A 52D. That's right. Lost on the odds on that one. All right. We're back to Leighton. 1954 Philadelphia. 54 Philly. Next up, we got a bonus. And the bonus goes to Malcolm. Malcolm, what are your two coins? Got two here. How about a 45S and a 52D? 45S and a 52D for Malcolm. All right, next up, Mark. 55 Philadelphia. That's a 55S. I wonder why it says it's a Philly. It's an S mint though. Maybe it's an RPM number 1. Let me change this to an S for you. That way we'll know for sure by what the holder says what the coin is. All right, let's see. Who do we got next? Uh-oh. Game again. Well, who gets to play? Cap Morgan Dollar. Cap Morgan Dollar, are you here? Let's give him a chance to say that he's here. This will be the last time the game is played during this particular pull. Only got 3 chips and they've all been pulled now. Wait for Cap Morgan Dollar to chime in here. I do not show he is present right now. Maybe he is. We'll see. All right, Cap Morgan Dollar, you ready to play? First coin. Oh man, this one's going to be a tough one. 1946. 46 is your first coin. Higher or lower than 1946? Captain, higher or lower than a 1946? Cap Morgan Dollar says higher. the next coin, 1940. 1940. So Cat Morgan Dollar does not win, but he does get these 2 coins. And we get to move to the next participant. Thank you very much for playing. Will you look at that? I drew another chip for Cat Morgan Dollar, so he gets another one on the heels. Is this one higher or lower than 1940, Cat Morgan Dollar? Higher or lower? Let's see if you get it this time. The 1940 that you drew was the last one in the game. Then I drew your chip. So we can continue playing. We'll give you a chance. Right? Cat Morgan Dollar. Your last pull was 1940. Higher or lower? You say lower than 1940? No. 1943S. It's higher. But at least you get this coin, right? 'Tis yours. You bombed twice on it. You better practice. Mickey. 1944D for Mickey. 1944D. Next up. What are we doing here? Cat Morgan Dollar. All right, here's you another chance. Try it out, Cat Morgan Dollar. Your next chance. You got a 1956D. Now, is the next coin going to be higher or lower than a 1956D, Cat Morgan Dollar? I'm trying to give you a win. I'm trying to put you on a win column here. It's okay. You got to practice. Trying to put you on a win column. Is the next one higher or lower than 1946? Or 1956, I'm sorry. I'm like Bob Barker. I'm trying to give you another chance. Okay. Cat Morgan Dollar says lower. Is it lower? Oh my gosh. It is. 1947. God, look how clean that coin is. Severe. That's nice. All right, 1947. Yeah, right. Is it higher or lower than 1947? Your next coin. Higher or lower than 1947? I'll try giving somebody a win tonight, right? The reverse. Let's see what the reverse looks like on this. It's got a couple of spots on it. It is a nice coin, though. All right, higher or lower than 1947, Cat Morgan Dollar? Higher. Higher than a 47. Bam. 55S. All right, so we got 55S. Higher or lower? Hey, Crispy. I had to play the game for you earlier. Unfortunately, we didn't win. You got 2 coins playing the game. $55S. Stay awake, Captain. Stay alert. 55S, higher or lower? Lower on this one. Let's see what we get this time. There's a 53D. 53D, got a 53D, Cat Morgan Dollar. Higher or lower than 53? I said tonight coming into this, someone was going to walk away a winner, and by golly, I'm going to make it happen. It's my show. I can do what I want. 53. Cat Morgan Dollar, are you feeling it? Is it higher or lower? Lower. Okay. Oh, yes. 1936. Well, Cap Morgan dollar, I think unless you really, really suck at this, you're going to get the next one. Higher or lower? Sounds good, Jen. I appreciate it. You have a great night. Nice meeting you. And I'll see you next time when you come back registered. And he says, wow, got a 36. It's got a Larry on it, but it's a 36, right? A higher. He says higher. It is higher. 1948. 48 Denver now. Is it higher or lower this time than 48 Denver? Wow. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's your sixth coin right there. How about number 7? Lucky number 7, 1948D. You going to go higher or lower? Lower now than 48D. What is next? Wow. By the skin of your teeth, brother. 46D. It is lower. Now you're right dead in the middle. 1946. Higher or lower? That's right, man. Captain's walking the coals right now. He's on the wire right in the middle. I know what he should say because I know what the next coin is. But nobody else does. I just pulled it out of the box. Here it is, right here. Higher or lower than 46? He says higher. Higher than a 46? He's got it. 53S. All right. Got a 53S in there now. We're going higher or lower? Higher or lower than 53S? This is not set up. This is exactly how it comes. However, they just happened to land in the box. I didn't put these in here in any certain order. I just had a number of coins that needed to go in boxes, and most of them, I just shoved them in there. Before or after, whatever it came before or after. So Cap Morgan Dollar says lower, and it is. 1952D. 52D now. Higher or lower? Cap Morgan. Higher or lower? You end up with a whole page of coins. I wanted to give your game a chance to win. Cap Morgan Dollar says lower than a 1952D. And it is. It's a 51D. All right. We're going to keep piling them up. 51D here. Cap Morgan Dollar, higher or lower than 51D? I've got the next one. It's right here. Cap Morgan Dollar says lower than 51D, and it is 47D. You're right back in the middle again. Might be a little more difficult to pick this one for sure. 47D. 47D, higher or lower? I think with this coin you would break the record. I think this was Wanda's record. And he says lower. Nope. 1954D was the next one. What do we have here? Good golly. And brother, you're breaking the bank on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 coins. 12 coins on one chip. That's the way. I like it. All right. Good going. You finally got it together, Captain. I'm glad you did. All right, here we go. Next up. That's how the game works. Carl, next coin up. 53, Philadelphia. 53, Philly. Next up. You're very welcome, Captain Morgendollar. I like playing games. It's fun. We need to do this more often. 1945D for Ant. A 45D for Ant. Sureg up next. 56 Philadelphia. 56 Philly. See, this would be the time where I should say, who wants to play the game right now for $10? Ant 2242. A 1940 Denver 40D. Hello, Dennis. It's you again. How are you doing? Oh, this one's for Frostbite. Frostbite has a 50-cent chip. Mr. 50 Cent. Oh, boy. How about a 37S? 1937S for Frostbite. Yeah, Mickey Fur says, Ben. Ms. Fletcher is up next. And Ms. Fletcher gets 1952 Denver 52D. Thank you, Jen. Mark, 1954 Philly. 54 Philly. Next up, Stanley. Stanley Z gets a 1946S. Nice little 46S. Jesse. Mr. Minter, 1948D. 48D for Jesse. Right? Lower than what? Lower? How about Stanley? Stanley now, 1950 Philadelphia. 50 Philly. Now for Parvez. Parvez with a 1945 Denver, 45 Denver. Mickey Fur. Mickey Fur, what does Mickey Fur get? Oh, 57D. 57D. Lower, lower. 12 RPMs. 56 WRPM 3 and 2. Love it, man. That's nice. That's real nice. I don't really mess with nickels all that much, but when I do, I like to sell them. Hey, how about that? Kelly Michaud gets a 1936. 1936 for Kelly. Next up, Mr. Wookich. Oh, would you look at that? 2 in a row. 1936. A 36 for Mr. Wookich. Who's up next? Ant. And Ant will get 1944D. $44D. Next up, Mr. Adams. 52D. 52D for Mr. Adams. Oh, we still got a lot of chips. I'm wasting time here, huh? Paul? 55S for Paul. Yeah, I think I need to speed things up just a little bit or we won't get done before 10. Ant. Back to Ant again. 1956 Philly this time. Taco John. How about a 1950S? 1950S. This time, Cap Morgendollar again. 1941 Philadelphia, 41 Philly. Cap Morgendollar, you're still going to be counting your coins next time we have an auction. Hello, Farm Dog. Here's Ant again. Ant. Now with a 1954 Denver, 54D. Frostbite have to go? Well, I appreciate it, Mr. Frostbite. You have a great night, sir. 1955 Denver, 1955D for Mr. Wookich. Oh, Taco John. Here's Paul. One for Paul. Paul also gets a 1955D. 1955D. Next up, wow, Cap Morgendollar again. Did you buy like 60 chips in this? The 1946D. 46D. Next up, Mark. A 51S. 51S for Mark. Next up, Carl. 55, Philadelphia, for Carl. Everything come all from together here. There we go. Okay. Next up is Mark. Mark needs new labels. Mark gets a 45S, 1945S. Next up, Kelly Ray. Kelly Ray gets a 45D, 1945D. Mr. French up next. A 58 Philadelphia. 58P. Here's Sureg again. Sureg with a 1954D. 54D. Next up, Stephen. 47 Philadelphia. Got some clean ones in here, really nice. 47 Philly for Stephen. Next, Paul again. Paul with a 48 Philly. .48 Philly for Paul. Next up, Malcolm. What's this one? 54D. It's not marked. So a 54D. Next here, Roy. Been waiting patiently, I'm sure. Roy, how about a 1953D for Roy? Next up, Malcolm. 47 Philadelphia. 47 Philly for Malcolm. Next up, Kelly Ray. Kelly Ray, 1945 D for Kelly Ray. Next up, Sandigger. Sandigger now, 1953 Philadelphia. 53 Philly. Next up, Mr. Fletcher. 52 Denver. 52 Denver for Mr. Fletcher. There's Sherman. Crispy. Sherman got a bath today. Didn't he get a bath? Sherman got a bath. Yeah, he feels all nice and clean. Crispy gets a 55. Philadelphia. Huh. Oh, he's nice and soft. He's all clean. Thank you, Captain Morgan Dollar. I appreciate it. Appreciate the continued loyalty and business. Mickey Fur, 1952S. There's your coin that belongs in a $200 roll. They do not come cheap. I have $4 a piece just to buy a roll of them. Stephen, 45, Philadelphia. Richard, 53D. 53D. Kelly Ray, 1954D. 54D. Jesse, 1950D. 50D for Jesse. Next up, Paul, 1940D. Nice. Nice, nice. Mr. Adams. Hello, Angie. Mr. Adams gets a 56 Philadelphia. 56 Philly. Mr. Adams again. Got a 47 Philly. 1947 Philly. Mark. There's a 57 Philly. That one's got a lamination issue going on. That's a nice lamination peel. You see it up across Liberty and on up into the head. Nice. I'm doing well, Angie. I hope you've been keeping yourself busy, keeping yourself together. I noticed you guys got a bunch of wintry weather recently, and that's not very normal for your area. 1957D for Paul. Nice, nice, clean coin. It's like a 66 grade. Pretty. Kelly Michaud. 47S. 1947S. All right. Now it's time to start doing some backfilling in the boxes so I can get more space to work. Let me go get a blank box. This will handle it till the end. There we go. I feel refreshed. I'm all better. Kevin, 1952 Denver. 52 Denver for Kevin. We've been missing you at the auctions and at Hangouts. Haven't seen you in a while. Sand Digger now, 55D. 55D for Sand Digger. Next up, Paul. 1944D. Nice clean looking 44D for Paul. Next up, Mr. Adams. Hoo-hoo. 1937. Philadelphia, 1937P. Next up, Mark. Mark with a 57. Philadelphia, 1957. There's Dennis. 1954D. 54D. I get that, Angie. I've had the tireds of late, too. All right, here's another one for Leighton. 1953S. 53S. Still got lots of chips. Next up, Malcolm. 1949, Philadelphia. 49 Philly. And next, Richard. 1951 Philly, 1951. Wanda. Wanda gets a 1953 Philly, 1953 Philadelphia. Next up, Josie. Yeah, 53S for Josie Fletcher. Next up, Paul. Paul back again, 1951 Philadelphia, 51 Philly. Hey, we got $10 going to Kelly Ray. $10 to Kelly Ray plus a 1954D to Kelly Ray. Let me write Kelly Ray's name on here. Put it right there. Kelly Ray will get that $10. Next up, Paul. Back to Paul again. 55D. 55D for Paul. And then we got a blank one, so that's Frostbite again. Frostbite gets 1956D. 56 Denver. Next up, Jesse. Jesse, 1955 Philly. Next up, A Frostbite again. Frostbite again. Gets a 53D. 53D. Richard. 47S for Richard. Sand Digger. 58D for Sand Digger. Lower, lower, lower. Sissy now. 55S. Hoping for that RPM number 1 or a DDO number 1. Oh, we got Sissy again. Straight out of block, 1951D. 1951, Denver. Was a good year. Jesse? Definitely was a good year. 1948S for Mr. Minter. Dennis. 1949S. 49S. Crispy. 41P. 1941P. Ant. 52P. 1952P. Sand Digger again. Sand Digger this time. Get these things straightened up so I can get it out. Next coin. No, 1940S. That's why I didn't want to come out. It's a good one. 1940S for Sand Digger. We only got about a dozen chips, a little more than a dozen chips left. Richard. 1952D. 52D for Richard Seppington. Next up, Kelly Ray. Kelly Ray gets a 1956D. 56D for Kelly Ray. Nice shiny one. Hard to keep these things straight. Let's see. I'm having trouble because I got a box that's falling apart. There we go. That'll help. All right. Ant. Ant up next. 1944S. 1944S. Next. We still have at least 2 dozen chips. Josie Fletcher. Josie gets a 1953D. All right, let me change boxes. Into my second full box of goodies. All right. Next up, Taco John. Taco John, first coin in the box, 1946D. 1946D. Next up, Josie Fletcher. 1942. Philadelphia, 1942. Next up, Sissy. 45. 1945. Philadelphia. It's for Sissy. Next one. Cat Morgan. Been a while since I've seen you, brother. Ooh, looky there. How about 1937, Philadelphia? You get luckier and luckier as the time goes on. Congrats, Sarah Cat Morgan on everything you've picked up tonight. Here we go for Steven. Big winner of the night, that is. 1948 Philadelphia. It's a nice one. 48 Philly. Who is next but Kevin? Kevin? 1953 S. 1953 S for Kevin. Next up, Kelly Ray. Kelly Ray. It's a 1946 S. 46 S for Kelly Ray. Steven. 1957 Philadelphia. Dennis. 44S. 1944S. Wanda. 55S. Oh, blink chip. Frostbite. S. Next up, Carl. 58. 1958 Philly. Wow, I just can't keep this stuff straight today. There we go. All right, next one up. Wanda. Back to Wanda again. Wanda this time 1944D. Next up, Dennis. Back to Dennis again, 1951. Philadelphia, 51. Next, Taco John. 47D for Taco John. Next up, Mr. Minter. Jesse picks up a 1947 Philadelphia, 47 Philly. Now Leighton. 1945 Philadelphia, 45 Philly. Mr. Adams. 48 Denver. With a struck through in the under the chin. Look at that. Big old struck through down there. That's pretty neat. Next up, Mark. 1954. 54 for Mark. Next up, Miss Fletcher again. How about a 51 Philadelphia? 51P for Ms. Fletcher. And next up, Malcolm. 53D. Next, Crispy. Crispy with a 51S. Next up, Mr. Fletcher. 1953, Philadelphia. 53, Philadelphia. Next up, Parviz. Haven't seen from him in quite a while on this box. He gets a 50D, 1950D. Next is Mr. Rizak Doug. Yeah, 52P. 52 Philadelphia. Make sure you're watching for that double diobverse on that. Kelly Ray. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. Kelly Ray gets a 1945. Nice double diobverse on 1945 as well. What do we see next? Well, Miss Fletcher comes back up again. Miss Fletcher this time with a 1950 Philadelphia. 50 Philly. Taco John now. Taco John picks up a 54 Denver. 1954 Denver. I've got all of your shipments from the auction waiting for me to put these in there. I'm going to put these in there and we'll ship them off tomorrow. I've got a call in for the post office to come pick them up. I've got 14 packages to send out. 1952 for Mr. Minter. And I have only a handful of chips left. Bag is empty. The chips I have remaining are stacked. And the first one is Mr. Wookich. Mr. Wookich, 1944 Denver. 44D. Next one, Wanda. $19.40 Philadelphia. That's an old one. That's a nice one right there. That's for Wanda. Next up, Taco John. Taco, 1950 San Francisco. 1950S. 2 chips left. First is for Stanley. Stanley gets a 1954. And last but not least, Paul. How about a 1950 Denver 1950D? That's it, folks. That's what we've got for this time round. I hope everybody had fun. I hope we did some great dealing and buying. We got all of our bonuses. We got all of our game chips. We got all of our $10 chips. So we are done and ready to move on. Do this about 3 nights a week. I'm thinking about a new game, but it'll take me a little while to get everything developed and put together for it. But I appreciate it, folks. You guys have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow during reveals. We have reveals tomorrow. Sunday, I'm taking the day off. You won't be able to reach me on Sunday. I'll be out of pocket. I believe I'm going to the coast with my wife. It's about a 2-hour drive over to the coast, and we've lived here for 3 years, and we've never been to the coast together. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that. Might as well, right? It's going to be a nice, cool day outside, but we don't plan on doing much walking on the beach or anything anyway because, well, we kind of got tired of the beach in Florida. We don't really have a reason to go to the beach, but we'll go look at it anyhow and see the birds and stuff. You guys have a great night. I appreciate it, and I will see you tomorrow for the reveals. Tomorrow evening will be the 1960D reveal bag. The bag reveal for that. It's going to be really exciting. I have no idea what I have inside the bag, but we're certainly going to find out tomorrow evening. And then Monday, we'll see you right back here Monday for the reveal show, where we will be doing another mint-sealed bag. I appreciate it. You guys have a great night, and I will talk to you later. Jacksonville Coin Show, that's this weekend, isn't it? I don't think I'll be there because that would be either tomorrow or Sunday. If it's tomorrow, I'm going to be busy working, and if it's Sunday, I'm going to be busy traveling around with my wife. No coin shows when I'm traveling with the wife. She doesn't like coin shows. All right, well, I'll talk to you later. You guys have a great night.